right. Good morning and welcome to Viver. So today we're going to go through what is Viver. We'll get into a full demo so you guys should get to see what Viver is about. But before I do that, I'm going to back up and start at the beginning as to why Viver, what we're up to here. And then, when we get to the end, if there's any questions, well, feel free to ask those questions as well. So hopefully I'll address most of your questions today. All right. So Viver started about 2 years ago when we actually did a, moving forward. There we go. We actually did an advisor survey and we asked our advisors if they did group benefits, and the responses were well, these are the actual responses. I don't have enough knowledge or training in group benefits. And these are specific advisors of ours. There are too many choices in designing a plan. Putting together competitive research or renewals is too difficult. It takes time for the client just to provide information to quote. And that's true. It could take up to a week or two to actually get that. The quoting system, the onboarding, the renewals, the ease of doing business just isn't there. So we have to start with, well, what is the current process? So we broke it down into 5 steps. The first step today of doing group benefits is really just gathering the data. And that could take upwards of a week to gather the copy of the benefits booklet, the experience report, the current invoice, and the census. The census is probably the hardest thing to get, because it requires getting all of their information around, their employees, the names and titles, their job description, the dates of birth, are they married, single, and what date did they start? I mean, a lot of this information, the business owner, if you're working, they wouldn't have this at hand. They'd actually have to go research this and talk to someone else, and even if they have good records. So getting this could not just delay a sale, but it could actually, make the sale not happen because it's too much work to even gather the census just to get the quote, okay? So that first step could actually, kill the deal. So, when we're looking at this process, you might not even get past step 1. So let's say you gather the data. Now you're in step 2. You're actually designing the quote. So designing the quote, if you don't do a lot of group benefits, even that can seem overwhelming. How much dental should I put? Which therapist should I add? Do I add an HSA? Do I not? Do I add a deductible, co-insurance? There's so many factors as to how to design the quote. Once you've done that, then you request the quote, you go to the carriers, and you go to a few different companies, and you wait about a week to get a response back, okay? You get those quotes, you take them, you present them to your client. Well, after reviewing them with the client, inevitably, one company's quote is different than another, so they'll say, oh, I want this critical illness from here, I want this, deductible over here, and so now you got to go back and re-quote, so that'll probably take another week back and forth. And finally, you're ready to apply for coverage. And, let's say that takes optimum 2 weeks, 3 weeks or more to actually have the application approved and have the group set up. So it is quite the process. So this, if you're lucky, will take, upwards of 5 weeks. In my example, 5 weeks in a day. Okay. So let's change this and look at the Viver way. So the Viver way, we've eliminated all of these steps here that you're about to see. So we're really, reviewing every step and how do we simplify this for both the advisor and the client. So we're left with 3 steps. Step 1, request the quote. Step 2, review the quote. And step 3, apply for coverage. Total time, 5 minutes. Okay. And I mean 5 minutes from the moment the client said, hey, do you do group benefits? Yes, I do. Let me bring up my laptop here. You start from nothing and you end with a completed sale within 5 minutes. So introducing for the first time here on a webinar, Viver. So let's go into these steps here and just I want to go into what did we eliminate to get to this stage here. Okay, so you saw there's a lot of these steps that were taken away. Step 1 here, we eliminated all these documents. So let's go through each one and figure out, what we've done and how we've done it. So the first one that's most important is the census. So we don't ask about their family status, meaning are they single or family? So we price as a group. We price as a whole company. That's how we get around that. So if it's 20 lives, it doesn't matter if it's 8 single or 12 single or 6 family. It doesn't matter. We price as a whole company. Okay. The next thing is we don't ask gender. We don't ask if they're male or female or whatever gender they choose. Viver is gender neutral. Okay. Again, we don't price based on that. We don't ask any employment details. And yet we can still create tiered classes. We also don't ask for the experience report. So that's not required for viver, which means pre-existing conditions are covered, right? So viver offers minimum of 3 lives, a 2-year rate guarantee on purchase, and a 2-year renewal rate guarantee. So that means every time a contract renews, they will be guaranteed those rates for another 2 years at every renewal. So that's already quite a lot. So then the next step, once we've gathered all that, is to actually quote it, right? So let's look at how we've done that. So step 2 was looking at big data. So in order to quote this properly, we needed to have a large statistical group in order to design a pool, because all of our clients are pooled together. So step 1, we needed a solid underwriter, solid partner to be able to access good actuarial experience. So we partnered with cooperators. So cooperators, if you're not familiar, I mean, they're a very solid company, 10th largest insurance company in Canada, and they just really bring that stability and credibility to viver. So once we had access to that big data, what we did is we did a lot of deep analysis to really identify industry standards or norms inside their data. So what that looks like is, once you have a large enough pool of clients, of groups and employees, that group becomes statistically average. So based on that size group, we could determine what percentage are male, female. We could determine what percentage are single or family. So it's all about data. So if we have the data, then why do we have to ask those questions of our clients? Okay. Obviously, smaller groups will vary, but once we pool them all together, then that risk gets mitigated because of that pooling effect. So that's another major factor of how we've done this. And the last step is really create a standardized pricing. So this is not apparently very standard in the industry. I mean, you can go to an insurance company today with a group and next week with the same group, and you'll probably get different rates. So we had to create a standardized pricing pool so that you can confidently know that your clients are getting priced properly every time. And so the viver way really is we've got it down to 3 questions. So if you're sitting with your business owner and you're trying to do a group benefit quote, really just answer these 3 questions, which are, how many employees do you have? And these are going to be questions that if you're sitting with a business owner, he should be able to answer these questions right there without doing research. So he might say, 2021. As long as you're within 20%, you're fine. Okay. Next is, what industry are you in? Well, there's a drop down. You just choose the industry you're in and just select that. And the last step is, what is your budget? So this is different than the way you might expect group. Group right now, it's you don't choose your budget, you wait 2 weeks, and finally you have a quote, and often there's a sticker shock because they didn't know what to expect. This time they actually decide on their own budget. So the budget could be what they're paying now for their group because they want to compare, or what they prefer to pay, or any number. If the number's too high or too low, it doesn't matter, because the next screen, we will be able to adjust that. So now that you've designed the quote, okay, what you got here, after answering those 3 questions, so viver now is offering you a fully insured plan. So this is interesting. A lot of people think that, because viver made this so quick and easy, that maybe we cut back on the coverages. Well, we didn't. We want this to be a competitive product. So when we look at the coverages here, you have everything from, single family rates, coverage, up to age 75. Life insurance, up to 150,000 with no medical. Critical illness, up to 75,000 with no medical. The drug coverage, 5,000, 7,500, or 10,000 options. 70, 80, or 90% coverage. And you do get a drug card. The dental, you can choose 1,000, 1,500, or 2,000 coverage. 80 to 90% coverage. And we will cover orthodontics if the clients choose that as well. So you can see there's really not a lot of that you're giving up here. It's very solid. We also have therapists. Depending on the plan design, you can get up to 19 therapists covered. You can get up to $500 per therapist covered per year. Now, that per therapist is no combined maximum, and there's no per visit maximum, which I know some companies have done. I've seen some companies down to $20 per visit. We don't have any of those per visit maximums. Okay, travel insurance, 90 days per trip, unlimited number of trips. A lot of other companies are 60 days, and we do also have vision care, eye exams, and health spending accounts as options as well. So together with the clients, you will be able to select these options. And it's not, again, just a static package. There are choices in there. So I will do a demo and show you that. Okay. The request quote for us is really pretty simple. You go into our portal and you're getting a live quote that are completed within minutes. So you're going to see that in just a few minutes. The next step, which was the review the quote, again, you're doing that live with the client. So you can, while you're with the client, if they wanted more dental, you can add more. If they wanted critical illness, you can add that. So you can, together with the client, adjust live with these bars, and then you can actually see the premium adjusting automatically. So we'll see that. So it's kind of giving you the overview first. And finally, when you apply for coverage, with Viver, the application is really completed within 5 minutes. It's really that simple. The first month, we take credit card or debit, I should say, or debit card as well. And the contract is issued instantly while you're in that 5-minute application mode. Okay. So once you've answered those 3 questions and reviewed the quote and complete the purchase, that really was the whole thing. Now, after you've done this part here, the next step, after the sale, the employer would receive an email where he would be able to add his employees with their contact info. Once he's done that, the employees receive an email and they can add their family details and their banking info. Okay, and then the coverage would start. Right now, all the coverage would start the first of the following month. So whatever day of the month we're working on, it'd always be that first of the month. Renewals, let me touch on that. So renewals are also a little different process. So first of all, we talked about receiving a renewal every 2 years. So whether it's you bought today, the first renewal will be 2 years from now, or at the next renewal, the following renewal will be 2 years as well, okay? Another thing we've done here is there's no individual experience rating because it is fully pooled, right? So what they're going to see is they're going to be able to get a renewal that will look like their initial quote experience. So it'll say, here's your current rate, here's your renewal rate, right? Columns side by side. And then they will be able to adjust their coverage to try and, stabilize their rates. So either they can decrease coverage to stabilize pricing or increase coverage to add more value. It's their choice. But again, it's doing it live. You don't have to go back to the carrier and try to negotiate rates or change coverages. You're doing that in the moment. Accept the final plan design, and the new coverage would begin the following month. Pricing. Another question would come up is, are we competitive? That's a fair question. So first off, because we've pooled premiums and we have no individual experience reports, and we price it as a group, that really gives us a lot more balance, so that if there are some groups that are maybe heavy users, some light users, things should balance out once we have enough clients in the pool. The other thing we've done differently is not pricing it as an individual. Again, we're able to get a blend rate of the whole company. So again, that should help with a little bit of smoothing. And another thing we've done is we do monthly inflation indexing. Now this is different. So this only affects new clients, meaning if your client bought today, his rates would be guaranteed for 2 years. But if they quoted with you today, but then decided not to proceed, okay? First off, their rates are guaranteed for 30 days. So they can come back within 30-day window and have that guaranteed rate. After 30 days, if they didn't purchase yet and they come back in the 60th day, their rates would be a little higher because we inflation index every month. And having that little bit of inflation index per month, instead of waiting for the renewal, it allows us to build in that buffer. So come renewal, we don't have a huge impact. Okay. So that's another smoothing effect that we're putting in. As far as sample pricing, here's a number of clients that we've worked on in the last few months. We had an auto garage here of 11 employees. You can see there were 0 single, 11 family members, family coverages. The total savings between their current coverage was 23%. So it's very significant. The group 2 was 6 people as a staffing company. They come in at 6% over. Now, the impact here was that there are 5 singles. So consider that the way we price, we do a blend rate. So because they're 5 singles, they do pay a little extra compared to if they did their own traditional coverage. Now, having said that, 6% additional on a small case here, we're looking at a difference between, they would have paid $238 versus our $252. So it's a small dollar figure, but the impact was they got the coverage done in 5 minutes versus, 2 months. Okay. A custom office furniture company. This was a large one we did recently, 117 lives. Viver came in 6% under. And the technology company, 15 lives. Sorry, I don't have the breakdown, the single family in that one, but we came in 14% under on that one. Okay. So having said that, let's get into a demo. Let me actually show you the software. And let's see here. Okay. Okay. So first of all, I think everyone can see this, right? So right now you should be able to see my Viver main page. So this is the viver.ca main marketing page. So on here, if you're navigating through here, this is both advisor and client space. You can go here as an advisor, advisors register here. So click there. Once you're registered, you would actually have a custom link with your rep code embedded. You want that link because that's the one that tracks for sales. That link you could embed on your website. You can email to clients. It's everything. So make sure you do that advisor register here. As you go through here, it explains everything I just talked about. It's all on the website, the 3 questions. There are sections here for advisors and employers. So if you're meeting with an employer, you can go here and it'll explain the value for the employer. They can download a brochure if you want to send something for them. And then we also have events. So the events, just like you registered today, we also have employer events. So if you have clients you want to bring, these seminars and these webinars will be similar to what we're doing today, but more of a client focus than an advisor focus. Okay. So once you're registered, the next step would be you would have a link that would take you to this quoting portal. And in here, it would have your sign in at the top right here as an advisor if you want to write your own quotes, or a get started here to actually run some quotes for clients as well. So, and the view demo is coming. We will have a full walkthrough of the portal that will be in there. It's not in there yet. So I'm just going to log in and I'll show you the demo. Okay, just back up here to it, back up the screen. So here's the first screen. So the first screen is based on what I just said earlier. The first question is number of lives. So you put in here if it's 20 lives or 30 lives, and based on the life count, the number of employees, it will ask you a separate question of how many in a certain age bracket. So right now at, let's say 20, it says how many under 50, over 50. Pretty simple, okay? If you get into a smaller group, if if I put in, let's say 5 lives, it now has 4 buckets of ages. It just wants a little more data. So yeah, the bigger the group, the less data we need. So let's say 20 lives, I'll put in, 10 of each, 10 under 50, 10 over 50. Monthly budget per employee. Right now, I have here $250 per employee. Again, you can't go wrong here. On the next screen, you're going to be able to adjust this. So just put in a number. Industry, click in there, and there's a pop-up of all these different industries. Okay, so just pick the industry that closest matches your client's industry. Right now, I have an auto garage in here right now. Province right now is Ontario. We will be bringing in other provinces over the next few months. We will be national by the end of the year. Preferred plan start date. So right now, it's always the first of the month. So March 1st would be the earliest date. So pick that one. And let's find a great plan for you. Okay. All right. So this screen here on the right is the chosen budget. So it will always design based on the budget we gave it, based on the 250. So right now it's $5,000. Now, what do you get for that? So first off, life insurance. Life insurance is saying $50,000. Now, if we go over to the left here, you can see that there's these little orange markers. These orange markers are the industry average for this industry and this company size. So it's saying for your industry, 50,000 is the average. Now, if you want to go less, you can just go down $25,000. Now you can see it's $13.38 per employee. And the impact over here is changed automatically. So now it's $47.69 as opposed to $5,000. Okay. You can also choose critical illness. Right now, the benchmark here is saying that you should have 25,000, but it is zeroed out right now. Dependent life is zeroed out. So let's just bring that on. Another $5 per employee. Dependent CI is off. Healthcare spending account. So here's where it gets interesting. Because we gave the budget of $250 per employee, there was extra dollars. So $67 is being used for an HSA. So each employee is getting a $600 HSA. So if you want to compare first without that, a lot of advisors want to compare just bare bones first, you could turn this off. Okay, so we turn that off for now, and you can see now we're down to $3,600. Okay. There's also a personal spending account, so that's for non-health related spending. So you can add that as well. Then at the bottom here, there's second opinion and employee assistance. So that's those are that orangey color, the pink, they're already selected. Now, the last thing here is these big buckets here. So Revive, Thrive, and Energize. This is your health and dental. So right now they are bundled together. We will be unbundling them as our group scales up, so you'll have more choice. So right now, if we look at this, we look at the plan compare, we can see that Thrive is your middle-of-the-road standard kind of average plan. Revive is a little less, and Energize is a little more. Okay, so if we look at Thrive for healthcare, we can see that the drug coverage is $7,500 per person per year. So if it's a family member, each family member would have that coverage. The Energize would go up to $10,000, and the Revive takes it down to $5,000. Thrive, the drug coverage is 80%, Energize is 90%, and drug coverage here is 70%. Okay, you can see there's also quite a number of other things that are covered as well. Oh, and there's no deductible. You can see right across the board. I never liked deductible, so we got rid of that. Okay, I'm just going to skip ahead to some of the major buckets here. Another one is the paramedicals, so the therapists. So if we add them all here on the top, it's 19 different therapists here, okay, at $500 per therapist under the Energize. Here under Thrive, it's $300 per therapist. And under the base coverage here, you can see there's a few things that aren't included. But it's a good start because it has physio, it has psychologists, psychiatrists. So there's quite a bit here. And again, like I said before, there's no per visit max and there's no combined max either. Okay. Eye exams are covered here in not the first one, but in Thrive and Energize. Okay. Vision care. So the eye exams is covered, but vision care for glasses It's only on the Energize, and that's $200 per person per year. Okay. What else is here? Travel, as I said before, is 90 days. Right across the board, everybody gets that. And dental, here we go. Dental is the next big bucket. So under Thrive, the dental is $1,500 of dental per person per year. So a family, every member of the family would have $1,500 of coverage per year. Energize takes up to $2,000 and Revive $1,000. Thrive is 90% covered, 90 at Energize and 80 at Revive. Thrive also includes major, and Energize also has major and ortho at 50%, okay, with the combined maximum. And I believe those are all the big buckets. Oh, and it goes to age 75 coverage, you can see there. Okay, so those are the choices here. So there's quite a lot, and there's some solid coverages here. So when you come back here, right now it's recommended Revive. So Revive is $147 per person. If we click Thrive, it goes to $196, and the budget here changes to $4,600. So, and we've taken off HSA. So one of the things we talked about is, well, you can go with Thrive and turn off HSA or leave Revive on. And for the same budget now, we can add in an HSA budget and come back to about the same price. And a lot of clients like that because this way they have some flex dollars for themselves. They still have a good coverage. They still have 1,000 dental, but now they have choice in how to spend this extra money. Okay, so I'm going to leave that off for now. And let's just say, we're happy with this. For $3,600, it works out to $182 per person, regardless of single or family or gender. So now we get to the bottom here. We choose class, all employees there. We hit read the disclosure and click. And now we save the quote. Save. Okay, so now quote is valid until March 9th, 2024. So you can come back and you have your login, you come back and you can open this quote again. But if the client is ready to proceed, actually, before I do that, there's also a print button here if you wanted to print the quote so the client can share it, or you can share it with the client. But if the client's ready to proceed, you hit here, okay? And now it summarizes everything again. Your ongoing premium is $3,600. These are the coverages selected. If you agree, click here, proceed, okay? Now it's actually creating the policy documents. So now here we go, the policy documents. So this one here, we didn't add critical illness, we didn't add HSA, so they're not in there. Whatever gets, like this is being customized right away for the client. So we can close that now, we've got that. Notice of appointment, we're working with viver, just appoints that, and I've agreed. Next. So this last phase here is to say, if you're working with a business owner, are they also the plan administrator? If they are, then fine, just say yes. If they're not, say no, I'm not the plan administrator. Who is the plan administrator? Now, this is important because after we've completed the purchase, the next email goes to the plan administrator to set up the employees, okay? So for now, I'll just say, yes, same person, I've read it, next. And here we go, the last step is pay for the first month. Credit, debit, we use Stripe, so this would make it very simple. They make the first payment. Once they've made the first payment, we will switch them to electronic billing afterwards. Proceed to payment. Once they've made this purchase, they're done. So your experience with the client is now complete. The next email will come from Viver automatically to that plan administrator, and Viver now takes over the process. Okay, so so that's the whole process. Let me get back to, so at this point here, we're trying to minimize the work the advisors should do. The next step, like I said, is to set up the employees. If we have any difficulties in setting up the employees, we will reach out, our client service team, we will reach out directly to the employer or the plan administrator to say, hey, are we having any difficulties? If we have difficulties getting in touch with the client, then we will come to the advisor and say, hey, your client isn't responding. Okay, so know that we will engage as necessary. Okay, let me continue now. Okay, so Now, if you want to work with us, your process to set up with us is to register with Viver. As I showed you from the viver.ca, just go there, you'll get a link, and you'll upload your life license, E&O, banking, all that. You will receive a customized quoting link. That will have your rep code embedded. And once you have that, you can start selling. That link you could use for yourself for quotes. You can email that link to clients. That is your connection to Viver. Let me give you some ideas on how you might actually promote Viver. So the first sales strategy is, let's say you're already meeting with your clients and doing just a regular review. So maybe you're looking at their life insurance, your commercial liability, investment review, whatever, you're already in front of them on a regular basis doing a review. Ask them, hey, do you offer group benefits to your employees? If they say yes, well, we now are able to do a quick price check. You can load up the laptop and just run a quote. If they don't, we can run a quote in 1 minute. So I'd encourage you to go, download the employer brochure so you can actually send that to your clients or leave behind about Viver. Another opportunity would be to add the link to your website, right? You can have a button that says, click here for group benefits or click here to quote group benefits. Even without you being there, you could just drive traffic to your website through social media, advertising. However, once they're there, the clients click the link, they run their own quote, and you still get paid. Okay, so your link, they can't remove your rep code. Another option is you can just email your link. You're talking to a client over the phone and they want group benefits, just say, listen, I'll email you a link. They could run their own quote. And as you saw, the quote process is in plain English. There's really nothing confusing there. So they run their own link. They click the link, they run their own quote, they purchase, and you still get paid. Another option is to just go direct market, go online, social media, advertise, have your link in there. Random clients will click your link and, they'll again run their own quote, purchase, and you get paid. So it really makes it a lot simpler and easier to actually promote group benefits. So the Viver advantage here, just to kind of summarize, it's live quoting, instant purchase, it's easily customizable, it's a simple process, no data required, pooled experience, the rate guarantee for 2 years at every renewal as well as purchase, purchase with credit and debit card, and the renewals are much more stable because of all the factors that we put in place here. The advantage for you guys, for advisors, is that live quoting. Now you don't need to collect any data. There's no delay in purchases. The instant sale, you can actually close a deal right in the moment, which means you earn faster. The commission is standard. I didn't touch on that, but it is standard industry commission that you would expect on groups. Not a lot to learn here. You don't need to really, think about it. It's really simple. If you have questions on the product, we'll get to it now. But, we're going to be doing these online seminars that, as we're doing today, I'll get into some more, technical seminars as well. So stay tuned for that. And then the client ones. If you have clients that you want to introduce, we could do, you can invite them to those client sessions as well. Okay. And listen, we'll also do custom sessions. If you want your own sessions for your seminars, for your staff, or for your clients, let me know. We can do custom seminars as well. Okay. So just to finish off again, welcome to Viver.